Hey everybody, it's Burglar223 here, and I'm Matt again, and with me I have...
Hi, I'm Joe, and I'm just here forever now.
And we're mad again.
We're so mad. I mean, I'm tired, but I'm probably gonna be mad soon.
So, this is part 2 of the EFAPPing the Avatar EFAP. Um,
This one might be a bit shorter, just because of all the time restraints we've been.
yeah, this one may be a bit shorter than the last one. We'll see how mad we get along the way.
Worst case scenario, we can always just combine it with another quickie.
Yeah,
You know?
maybe.
We can call this part 1.5. Part 1.5, 1.5.
Like Lion King.
Oh, I still refuse to believe that there is more than just the one Lion King.
Well, they're real, so...
I know, aren't there four more technically? Because it's 1.5, 2, and then 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, that's 3. Shit. There's 4 in total.
But yeah, so last time we got pretty angry right off the bat. We only got through 10 minutes of the video. We're gonna see how far we get through here. The only points that we have agreed that he has made so far is one, why does Aang have to go and do the winter solstice thing to talk to Avatar Roku first? Why didn't he have to do it somewhere else? Or what's the point of having to do this first if he can show up later? That's not really explained. Second thing we agreed on is how is Zhang able to see Roku despite, I mean, he probably is spiritual, but if he can show up to Zhang, why can't he just show up with Aang at points? He does show up at Aang, but they were at points that we found out made sense. So the one with Zhang just sort of doesn't. But yeah.
There's also making sure that we do not, what's it called? Contradict our... What is it? No, what is it? I'm trying to think. We also need to make sure that we are staying true to the rules of, good storytelling and consistency, or at least a layman's version of it that we established in the previous episode. So if you didn't see that, I'd go watch that, so that way you can let us know when we're being hypocrites in the comments.
Yeah, definitely watch, definitely watch part 1 before watching this part. We did only get through 10 minutes of the video, so maybe that's incentive to not want to, but we did talk about a lot.
Man.
I would say definitely watch part 1 before watching this part, but if you didn't do that, I don't know why.
Right.
But
we're going to try our hardest not to stop it on parts that we've already made our point on.
It's hard not to, though, because I get mad.
Legitimately, I almost want to just... I mean, we are probably... I'm sure you do just edit out the rest when we don't stop it.
I kept it in because it was funny. I kept in some... I cut out some stuff, though. Some parts did need to be cut out, though.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, so, we're back up at 10 seconds, so he's probably going to mention Zhang again, so we don't really need to respond to that. But, yeah, I think without further ado, we should get this started.
Oh God, help me!
Let's say in Aang's head, in some degree, when he becomes Godzilla at the end of season 1, because I doubt Aang knew what he was doing with that. It was more the other avatars. Then there's do you remember Zhong, the Fire Nation, the Fire Teacher, Firebender?
Oh yeah,
he's
was he part of the Lotus Club?
Yes.
Or...
So he's like, I'm not going to...
I just want to clarify, yes, he is a part of the White Lotus. That's all I want to say. I'm just making sure people understand.
Teach you, Aang, because you're too... I think he says he's too reckless or something like that, or weak, I think it is. And Roku just shows up, and he's like, hey, teach him. And he's like, okay, geez, I'll do it. And it's like, man, Roku could just sort of... Because they made a huge deal out of it, but then it just sort of seems that he could just show up where he wants to, when he wants to, and I'm just like, man, why isn't he, teaching Aang?
What?
What?
Wait,
hold on.
Why isn't he teaching Aang? He's dead. If he's saying, why doesn't Roku teach him? Spirits can't bend. You can't bend in the spirit world. How is he supposed to teach him? What, by words? I don't know if you've ever done martial arts before, MauLer, but that's not how you learn how to do martial arts or learn how to fight. You can't just read a piece of paper or have someone tell you. You have to actually have someone physically teach you the motions of how to do it.
I learned best when I got the shit kicked out of me, which it sounds like a joke, but it's quite true. I mean,
I know, yeah. You would I mean, you weren't forced to, but in our class, we would volunteer to see what it feels like to get hit with that, so we know when we're doing it right.
I also should probably mention that it's not like we were struck with the force of 1,000 suns.
No.
It was simply a demonstration of, like, this is how it is. Here's a taste of what it feels like.
Dude,
Normally, you do this.
Dude, the thumb shit, though, the thumb crunch and the nails, I hated that shit, though. I fucking hated that shit.
Dude. The only time the only time we really did get, like, the full brunt of it is when we just asked for it, and even then, I knew he was holding back. There's no way.
With those, I would never ask for it. I'd be like, no, I'm not, because I knew what they felt like. I've had to, uki for people to do it, and I know what it feels like, so I hated feeling it, and I didn't like doing it to people either. I'm a softie.
There's a reason why you're not in martial arts anymore, and why I'm not in martial arts anymore.
But yeah, a spirit. Have you ever seen the Karate Kid? I mean, Mr. Miyagi, he sees Daniel learning from like a YMCA booklet, and he's like, you can clearly see him like silently judging him. It's like, that's not how you do it, Daniel-san.
Oh God, no. If Roku could just teach Aang how to firebend, that would completely ruin the point of the entire story.
Yeah, what would be the point of Aang having to look for teachers that are living in the world and interact with other humans? He could just sit in a room all day and just learn from the other avatars.
He could legitimately just meditate for days on end, and then he'd come out like, a month later and be like, hey guys, I've mastered the elements. Like,
it would be so boring. It's like, why are all your suggestions just ruin the story?
Yes. There, I have a problem with the story. I think the solution is for it to not exist at all.
But anyway, yeah, let's continue on with that.
Why isn't he tutoring him on loads of stuff? Because it was incredibly important information that he got out of Roku when he meets him in Season 1. And I just figured that Roku could tell him all kinds of things. Because obviously, I think it's Season 3, Roku gives him the full history on him and Sozin.
Well, okay, yes, in terms of context of the world, Roku probably could tell him everything right off the bat. But that's not good storytelling. Throwing too many things at people too quickly is not a good thing. You tell things that the audience needs to know when they need to know it. That's a problem that I had with my own writing that I'm trying to rectify. I threw too much in the beginning and it made it boring.
I want to know why he thinks the solution to the problem in this situation is more exposition.
Yeah, no. Exposition is I get that he wants Roku to explain more shit to He explains the shit to Aang, but it's at times when it's relevant in the story, not when it's irrelevant. You know what I mean? If he did it right at the beginning, it would be way too much, way too quickly, and it would be boring. So, Aang probably could have died in the Avatar state in Season 1, but you didn't need to learn about the backstory or how the Avatar state works until Season 2, when it actually became relevant to the story on the rules of it. You know what I mean? Same with the backstory between Roku and Sozin. That didn't have much relevance until Aang was going to face the Fire Lord, so he needs to learn how Roku failed at facing the Fire Lord in his past. So, yeah, no. That's not how you do good storytelling. Contextually, that's probably how it would go down in real life, but the whole point of stories is to not be fucking boring real life. I said the R word again.
You said the R word again.
Anyway.
And I guess to teach Aang about just how a friendship can go to shit, kind of how it can start a war, that sort of thing. And I was just like, man, like the amount of knowledge Roku has, and for some reason, like they established that it's this well that is impossibly hard to actually tap, but then simultaneously he just shows up whenever he kind of needs.
Sorry about that.
What the heck happened there?
Why are you pausing it for that one?
I was gonna have a point. He doesn't just show up whenever he can.
We've already addressed this.
Yeah, that's true. The Avatar, in part 1, we kind of addressed the times he shows up, why they make sense when he shows up. Anyway.
No problemo. Did you hear what was the last thing you heard me say?
Oh yeah, you're talking about how Roku just came out of nowhere and actually convinced Zhong to train Aang.
Yeah, he also pops up in the ocean, and he pops up on that lion turtle just for the finale.
He doesn't just pop up on the lion turtle. Aang, he's meditating. And also, lion turtles are extremely spiritual. And Aang at that point is well versed into contacting his inner spirits. So that's not a...
I was going to say, he's damn near a fully realized avatar at that point.
Yeah, and it's not Roku showing up, it's Aang bringing in, like, Roku to have knowledge.
The statement Aang says before he brings Roku out is like, I don't know the answer, maybe someone else does. And then or like something along the lines of that, and then he sits there and he's like, oh, maybe my past selves do, and he sits down and fucking like manifests them. It's not like I'll even fucking search it up right now. You know what, we can keep this going. Or even we can just stay paused for a while and we'll edit this out once I find it.
Yeah, he does, when he's on the lion turtle, he's like, at first he's asking Roku, where is this place? Because he doesn't know where he's at. And Roku's like, I'm not sure, Aang. And then he's like, but I realize you're lost in more ways than one. Then he's like, I need to know what I need to do once I face the Fire Lord. And then he talks to Roku. Roku's like, kill him. And then he leaves. Then he brings out Kyoshi. Kyoshi's like, kill him harder. And he's like, I shouldn't have asked Kyoshi. Then he asks the waterbender guy, and he's like, kill him. He leaves. And then he talks to Momo, and Momo, he pretends that Momo can talk. And he's like, I know you can't actually talk, but pretending you can just helps me think. Maybe I can bring out an air nomad avatar. And then even the air nomad is like, kill him. So he's like, shit. But yeah, they're not just appearing, he is willing them to, like, he's well versed in the spirit world, which I guess, well, I mean, Zhang, sure, he's spiritual, but would he didn't will Avatar Roku to show up. Roku just did that. So I was about to just take away that point, but no, that's still an issue. Because Roku does just show up with Zhang.
Ooh, the new season of Seven Deadly Sins. Gotta watch that.
I don't like that show.
Well, I mean, go fuck yourself.
They added Legend of Korra on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and I'm ready to fucking shoot myself in the mouth.
I'm leaving that in.
There you go.
Oh, he's like, I wish I have Roku.
Yeah,
I do have Roku.
Yeah. Aang's exact lines in this moment are, I wish I had some help right now. I wish I had Roku. I do have Roku. And then he meditates and manifests Roku by doing the thing that he always does, which is fucking contacting the spirits.
Yeah.
And then Roku says, you're right, Aang. All the past avatars, all their experience and wisdom is available to you if you look deep inside yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that beautiful?
And even in the winter solstice episode, where they first have to talk to Roku, he even says, "If you need to speak to me, you will find a way." And at that point, he's well versed in the spirit world.
I will say this in MauLer's defense, actually. Oh, shit.
I couldn't understand a single
thing. I will say this in MauLer's defense, actually. The line, all of your past lives and all of their experiences are available to you if you look deep inside yourself. That does play part to the whole, like, why can't he teach him, XYZ. I feel like,
But that's not the point. You know what I mean?
No.
All of their experience and wisdom, it can be helpful, but it really isn't. That isn't their job, just to expository. Well, no. And also, you need to know current events by talking to people from nowadays.
I feel like some of this part is going to get heavily cut. I feel like this part right here, not because I'm finding plot holes in our issues. I think it's mainly just because I'm too tired to understand you.
But what were you gonna say?
Oh. Well, with all their experience and wisdom available to him, yeah, there's the whole thing of well, then in that case, they should be able to impart... Fuck me. Jesus Christ. They should be able to impart some amount of try these little tips and tricks for when you're water bending, earth bending, and fire bending, da 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 da. But Roku makes it pretty apparent that that's a new lymph node. Oh no. Roku makes it pretty apparent that if he were able to just teach Aang, there'd be wasn't that a thing?
What?
Wasn't that a thing where Aang was like, "Can't you just teach me how to?" I'm sorry, I've just.
He does ask, what if I can't master the elements of time? What if I fail? He just says, I know you can do it, for you've done it before.
Oh, I already have the thing.
He doesn't really ask Roku, why can't Roku teach me? Maybe someone bringing it up could probably be a good thing. Like maybe like when they're talking about Zuko, maybe Sokka could go, hey, why don't you talk to Roku? He seems pretty knowledgeable. He's a firebender. And then Aang could probably go, no, that won't help. You can't bend in the spirit world or something like that. It's like, I need a real teacher. Something like that. But that could be maybe, maybe they assumed a normal person could infer that that's not how you teach someone how to fight. That's what I'm able to understand out of it. I never thought to have a fucking ghost teach me how to, punch someone. What is it? How is a ghost can teach you?
I'm gonna be real. I don't think somebody could teach me Brazilian jiu-jitsu by just talking to me about it.
Yeah, you need to, be able to physically be able to do it. You can't just have them show them the motions of firebending. No, you need to see the fire. But yeah, I don't really know where else to go on with that. Is that all we had to say about that?
I guess so. That's gonna be a weird.
Yeah, that's going to be a whole edit fest right there.
My apologies for fucking that up so royally.
Oh, that's okay.
And he pops up on his own hometown islandy thing to tell Aang stuff. And so basically, like, I think in season 1, they were like, this is a huge deal. And then they were like, kind of wanting him to sort of come in where they needed.
With the homeland thing, telling the backstory between Roku and Sozin, he says the summer solstice. So in order to do that whole thing, it's still crazy enough. It has to be the solstice in order to do that sort of thing. So, yeah, I guess you just weren't paying attention.
I feel like that's kind of the theme of this whole series so far.
Did him too in different areas, and so it just got me to the point where I was like, man, if Roku can do this, he needs to just teach Aang a shit ton of stuff. Come on, Roku, get in there to be his firebender teacher.
No. Cannot be his firebending teacher. I'm not saying it again.
Don't say it again.
Yeah, just train him up. I mean, what is he just being lazy? Just lazy.
And this guy's defending that? Wait. This is the guy who watched the show.
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
Yeah, he watched it like 10 years ago.
Even then, he probably didn't see every episode. He probably just, I don't know.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I believe he watched the show, but he definitely didn't watch it like recently.
He didn't watch it good enough. He didn't do a good job of watching it.
God. I can't believe that, but that really is just kind of like the moral of this whole thing is just like not even the moral of this. That's just the thing about this whole situation is it really feels like just did we watch the same show?
I don't think they did.
I really don't.
Did they watch the movie? Is this the movie?
It's the movie. Somebody needs to say something. Anyway.
Roku.
Lazy Roku.
But I think the Zhang thing, I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's been showing that there's a connection between Zhang and Iroh, and there is if you remember from the first season, I don't know because this is kind of obscure almost, but remember that there's an episode where Iroh gets captured, and in the abridged series of Avatar, it's called
The abridged? Why are you bringing up the abridged series? I didn't even know there was an abridged series. Why are you using that as a reference?
That's because that's what we watched before you made this
video.
Yeah,
maybe he didn't even watch the actual show. He just watched the fucking abridged series.
He's just kind of like, this show's boring as fuck. I'm gonna go watch the abridged series.
And what's funny too, on an EFAP, they criticized a guy for comparing normal SAO to SAO abridged, and all he was saying was, in SAO, the scene with what's her name, Yui, is full of plot holes. Why didn't Kirito just use admin privileges to disable the game. He probably only needed to turn one thing from false to true. But he was saying in SAO Abridged, the same thing happens, but no one gets angry about it because we care about the characters. That's all he was saying. And they criticized him for bringing up, using an abridged series, that's a parody. You can't bring that up. It's like, well, you're doing that.
Jesus Christ, this is a mess. This is a real fucking mess here.
And by the way, the scene he's bringing up, I don't know why, it's not like it's exclusive to an abridged series. I know what he's talking. He's talking about when Iroh was in his hot tub, and then the Earthbenders show up and they chain him up on the ostrich horse, and they're gonna take him to Ba Sing Se. While Aang is on Roku's dragon, Iroh can see it, and he's like reacting to it, and they're like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, nothing." So he can see into the... We learned that the reason why is because Zhao says, Yes, I know you fear the spirits. I've heard rumors about your journey into the spirit world. So he's able to see the spirits without, having to do crazy shit because he's so well-versed into the spirit world. You could argue Zhang could be that too, but I... See, even with Iroh, he didn't... wait, no. The dragon did kind of just show up, so maybe Roku could just show up, but... I don't know. That's, the spirit world stuff is kind of hard to nail down. They are spirits, but it's still, clunky in areas. But, I think I'm just gonna move on.
What do you mean the dragon just showed up?
The dragon, is on, with Aang, and he's just, in the sky, and Iroh sees it. Whereas with Zhang, I was gonna say Iroh or Zhang willed Roku, but he didn't. So if Roku can just show up to Zhang, then why can't he just show up with Aang? He does show up, but he shows up at appropriate times. So the Zhang thing is inconsistent. I don't understand. I don't know. I was kind of rambling at that point anyway.
He was having his naked Iroh time, and then he got captured by Earthbenders.
Yeah.
And that's that same episode where Aang goes into the spirit world, and so Iroh. Well, let me back up a little bit. So Aang he climbs on Roku's spirit dragon thing, and he goes soaring through the air in the spirit world. No one can see him except for Iroh. Iroh can see him, and Iroh's this. Whoa! There's a big dragon going over my head. And this
is really crazy. He's bringing up a scene from the show. It's like this is what he should have been doing the whole time. He's not making anything up. This is something I can actually, visualize and memorize. This is something that really happens.
You make a very good point.
Spirit realm, and everyone, all the Earthbenders, what's going on? Why are you freaking out? And he's like, oh, no reason. And but thing is, Iroh can see spirits, and he's part of that. He's an old man, wise old man, part of that White Lotus.
For sure. I think I'm actually
Yeah.
on board with the idea that Aang could probably speak to Roku in the spirit world or whatever. It's just weird to me that they took so much time to say that it has to be the winter solstice light shining on his statue in the secret room in the fire temple. Clearly all of that's not necessary. We can talk to another place.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree with that. The whole winter solstice statue thing. It really isn't explained why they had to do that first. So that's still his 2 points are that and Zhang, but that's basically the same thing.
Here's what I'm getting at. I mean, the Iroh.
All right, sorry about that interruption, everybody. But this is the same video, same day.
Yeah, totally. Hey, everybody.
But yeah, we're just gonna continue. Well, I mean, we're probably a little bit behind on this part or on this area here, but we're just gonna get right to it. Let's go.
Wait, I just want to say, the first part of the recording was at 12 midnight, and we're starting this one at 12 noon. So,
wow.
Yeah, right. How about that?
Light shining on his statue in the secret room in the fire temple. Clearly all of that's not necessary. We can talk to in other places.
I mean, we don't know if it's not necessary. We just don't know why he has to go, like, why he has to do all of this first.
That is the big thing. I will give him that. It is such a... It's such a strange concept to me that he just has no connection or, like, ability to properly enter the spirit realm up until that first instance where he just opens the door and, oh boy, it's Roku.
I think Literature Devil mentions it's probably a rite of passage, but like,
I mean,
with Monkey Atso, he said, he was gonna have him talk to the Roku statue in the Southern Air Temple. So why would Roku have him go to his dangerous island in the Fire Nation when he could probably just go to one of the Air Temples, someplace much safer? Sure, it's not as exciting, but it isn't exactly that well written. You could still make it exciting. Maybe they have to go to maybe you get a glimpse of the Western Air Temple, or maybe they go to maybe the Eastern Air Temple, but there's Fire Nation there, or they go back to the Southern Air Temple and there's Fire Nation there, like pillaging shit. I don't know. Or they get chased by Zhao and Zuko anyway. You can just have that happen again.
I want to search it up just because I want to know, when did Aang first talk to Roku? That's the real question for me.
This episode, the Winter Solstice Part 2. In Part 1, the dragon is showing him how to get to the temple.
So that is the first time. Okay.
Yeah.
But the first time he goes to the spirit realm is when he meets
Heibai.
Heibai.
And the
Heibai?
dragon.
Heibai,
I think it's Heibai.
Yeah, it's Heibai.
But
that's right, because the Heibai is the one who tells him what he needs to do to talk to Roku.
No, that was the dragon.
Oh, was it it was the dragon. He takes a little whisker and he goes, and he just like...
Yeah, but it's just like, that's such a dangerous area. If the rite of passage is you have to, do this thing, then, why does it have to be Roku statue on the winter? Yeah, the solstices are when the lines between reality and spirit world. I don't have a problem with that.
Why does it have to be Roku is your question?
No, why does it have to be in his dangerous, the dangerous location in the Fire Nation with a bunch of fire, where all the fire sages are evil, ready to kill him?
This is all headcanon, but maybe it's because it's just... it's the place where Roku's spirit is strongest, so it's the easiest for it to manifest.
That's true, but Monkey Atso was saying there's someone you need to speak to when you turn 16, and they were gonna show him Roku's statue. That's what was gonna happen. So he was probably gonna...
Was it clarified that he was going to go to an air temple to speak to Roku?
He does it in episode 3, the Southern Air Temple, where it's like, there's someone I'm able to meet now, and he goes in, looks at the statue, and then when he turns into the Avatar state, all the lights glow up. But if he was 16 and ready, he would probably be able to speak with him. So it's like, why does he have to go to the dangerous fire temple when Roku probably could have sent him someplace safer?
Was it because of his age that it was just something he had a harder time establishing?
We don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why that's a bit of a problem. Not a huge problem, but it is a strange inconsistency, especially when talking to Roku becomes a lot easier down the line.
We'll get the paper, chalk one up for MauLer.
Well, wait, that one's already knocked. That's already a point, though.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. To clarify again, even though it's in the first half of this part, his only 2 points so far is the Roku statue. Why does Aang have to, do all this shit to talk to him first? And him and Roku showing up with Zhang.
Yep.
And that's basically it.
Let's see what he has next.
Here's what I'm getting at. I mean, the Iroh is, he can see spirits. So Zhang, he being also a wizened old man, and part of the White Lotus Society or organization or whatever, it would make sense that they share similar techniques. That's what being as part of society might be, to share wisdom, especially a society of old men like that. So maybe Zhang can also see spirits, but that might explain why Zhang could see Roku. Now back to Aang and him being able to see Roku outside.
Wait, hold on. I know I probably heard this wrong, but it really, honest to God, sounded like he's just Zhang can probably see Roku because he's old as shit. It's really what it just sounded. I know it's not what he meant. I just think that's funny.
I do agree with them that I think I said this in the first half. I do agree that Zhang is in the White Lotus, so he's probably extremely spiritual. But
yeah, you did say this.
But
I think,
but Zhang it didn't call upon Roku. Roku just showed up.
Yeah, Roku really just kind of was like, "Oh, so I heard you're talking shit," and he's like, anyway.
Side of that temple thingy is that when the winter solstice is approaching, Aang was a novice. He was basically just Aang, who had some natural talent in bending other elements and able to tap into the power of the Avatar accidentally. So he was brand new. He was just told he was the Avatar before he was frozen, and they're not supposed to tell you until you're 16. He was 12, and so there you have it. But then, so he was a novice. He was not really focused. He was just a boy. So when he went to the Avatar temple, or the temple where he met Roku, he was not connected to his past selves yet. He was not. He was just Aang, who could tap into the Avatar sometimes. So when he goes into that temple, he meets Roku, and Roku helps him connect. They would notice that that's the time when Roku was able to actually come alive, come back to the real world, and start destroying stuff and beating up the priests, as you do. And then
Yeah.
That's actually, that's a problem that I kind of had, right?
Well, they turned evil, except for one of them.
Well, no, it wasn't the priest that I had a problem with, right? It was how Aang was just kind of able to manifest the various avatars, because he did it with Roku and he did it with Kyoshi, right? It wasn't just him tapping into like the spirits to speak with them; he just became them for a hot fucking second.
But with the Kyoshi one, that's in the episode Avatar Day. And
Right.
I consider that episode a bad episode, and that I always skip, because, yeah, that one, just because he's wearing all her clothes, he becomes Avatar Kyoshi? Like, what?
Yeah. I mean, when talking about analysis, obviously we can't just skip over it. That's the fun part about giving a critique of a show that you like, is you have to look at these awful episodes and be like, good fucking job, you absolute morons.
Yeah, I just really don't like that. There's 3 episodes I skip. I skip The Great Divide every time, I skip Avatar Day every time, and I skip The Painted Lady every time.
Why do you skip The Painted Lady?
Not that The Painted Lady is a bad episode, I just don't like it. I feel like it does kind of contradict Katara's character a bit, where she kind of hates the Fire Nation. I mean, yeah, they're a poor village and everything, but I mean, I feel like she would be one who is like, defeating the Fire Lord is a lot more important.
I mean, like, something character development, but
But like later on, she still has extreme torment and hurt, So what? Her character development is good from bad, but then good again.
Isn't that not more directed at Zuko than it is all of the Fire Nation? I mean, she still
No. She literally hates everyone in the Fire. That's why she has such a hard time trusting Zuko at first. Not only she has trouble trusting anyone who betrays her at all. She couldn't trust Jet, even though he was trying to help this time. And when she finally trusted him, he died.
I too turned to racism to cope with my trauma. Or is that more xenophobia? Either way.
But then when with Zuko, she doesn't trust him, but then Zuko starts showing signs that she can trust him, but then he betrays her. So now she hates him even more, and she hates herself for even trusting someone. And then she threatens to fucking kill him.
I really hope no one takes that sentence that I just said out of context. I'm just like, haha, funny joke, but like, there's just part of me that's just like, there goes a job somewhere down the line. Just.
Yeah, I don't like today's climate of everything.
Yeah, well, we don't have to get into that. That's a subject for another video. But I'm just going to clarify this now. That was a joke. For legal reasons, I'm not racist. And for personal reasons, I'm not racist.
Connect with Aang. To me, that part of the whole winter solstice ritual allowed Aang to focus and connect with his past selves, being represented by Roku, the previous avatar. And from then on, he was able to Roku could connect to Aang directly through the spirit realm. And since the winter solstice event was able to start and spark that connection in the first place, which was why it was such a big deal that he had to do all that, go to that temple and go to the whole ritual to start that connection in the first place. And then from then on, he had
I don't disagree with what he's saying. I just don't know why it had to be that temple. I wish that could have been explained a bit.
Right, and I don't condone the prejudice of any person based on race, ethnicity, or
retroactive connection to Roku from then on out, where Roku could just appear when he needed to be.
All I guess I would want is like a line for that. Just to give me that so I can sit on that nicely as well. But the only other thing that's left.
Oh yeah, I can see
just,
that. See that.
I don't see.
I mean, I think the line would be Monk Gyatso saying you need to talk to someone important when you turn 16, and who he meant, from what we know in the third episode, is Avatar Roku. But I myself need a line saying why it specifically needs to be that temple, which I've said about 5 times now, but I'm just saying.
And they might be, by the way, I might have missed it, but I don't see why
you did.
He isn't telling Aang more as these seasons go on. Like, they're desperately in need of a firebend.
He doesn't tell him more?
hold on. I want to see what he says first, actually.
Teacher, and it's like, I don't know, maybe Roku. Like, he could probably do it. And, if
we've already been over this. We don't need to say how wrong he is again, but
I mean, you were tired, though. Do you want to be more expressive about your feelings towards it?
I mean, I don't think I need to be. I mean, it's pretty clear and cut to the point. Just that argument falls through for 2 obvious reasons, being that spirits cannot bend, and you have to physically be shown how to perform something, as opposed to just kind of being like, yeah, and then you do this, and hopefully it happens.
Yeah, no.
I mean, first of all, could you imagine the training arc with Aang and Roku, with Roku being like, try this position, and then and Aang goes like that, and he goes, no, and that's the whole, that's the training arc.
Honestly, though, that would be, a funny episode if they tried to do that, but they realize it doesn't work, so that leads them to want to find someone, but they're logical. They probably already figured, because they're smart, unlike MauLer here, they realize that learning from a spirit is probably not a good idea. But that could have been a funny episode, I'm saying.
Yeah, it would have been a funny episode, but I mean, my big question is, surely MauLer is not upset with the fantastic character arc that is Zuko. Then,
I'm gonna say it again. If he says anything bad about Zuko or Iroh, he does not deserve to be a fucking film reviewer in any way. He doesn't deserve to be a review channel in general.
Look, he cannot like them and whatnot, but that... come on. Come on. There's... I sound like a fucking seagull just then, or a goose or some shit, but I mean, we'll wait until we get there, right? But obviously, this just feels like foreshadowing the whole way through. We're saying all this shit, and then we're gonna get to it, and then he's just gonna be like, yeah, I just think Zuko and Iroh were shallow characters, and I'm just gonna snap my own arm in rage.
I'm gonna, shake the fucking laptop. I'm gonna, break my laptop if he says something about Zuko's
I'm gonna
arc.
shit and cum.
It's Zuko's character. Zuko is one of the best characters in anything I've ever seen. He's just so... I was spoiled of his arc. Yeah, I still enjoyed it completely when I viewed it.
That's the best part, is, you knew that this was all happening, and then when it happened, you were just like, what?
It was still surprising. But anyway, yeah.
If you were like, you can't firebend as a spirit, I'd be like, no, you don't need to. Just show him the techniques and give him the, Yoda style. You need to do the thing with the thing. You're like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's a good point. Because as you see,
it is not a good point.
Oh,
Shut the
Ryan,
fuck up.
We don't have to pause it every time.
I just want to tell him.
I know. We don't need to.
It's not a good point.
When Iroh teaches Zuko, he's not showing him all the time. He's just saying, "It's your breath. Here's the movements, and this is what you do to do fire.
Don't be
firebend. Yeah, don't do that."
I'll say this, and the only thing I can say in their defense is Zhang Zhang taught Aang how to firebend without firebending or showing him, but he taught him how to make fire. If Aang is able to manifest fire, and if Roku is able to show him the forms, logically speaking, he could do it. However, that is not a substitute for
a real teacher.
A real teacher. Not to say that Roku can't teach him. Not to say that Roku could not teach anyone at all. It does not change the fact that there are conditions for Roku appearing that we have established. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to tell me that Aang is supposed to learn how to firebend, right? Learn how to do all of his firebending on, like...
Yeah, he would only be able to do it... I mean, the air temples are spiritual, but you would still probably need... I mean, he's probably well-versed into... Actually, I was about to say, like, maybe he needs to wait for the full moon, but he's pretty well-versed into the spiritual.
Well, hear me out, though. If there's no full moon, or if it isn't the solstice, right, Aang needs to concentrate to bring them out. Mm-hmm. You know? It's one of those things where he needs to focus on it, right? If you are trying to learn something new, right? Like, I don't know about you, but I can't hone my writing skills while practicing calculus. Like, that's, that's just one of those things where it's like, I kind of have to focus on all of them. I have to focus on one of them or none of them. Like, that's, can't do both. It's a concentration thing. And if Aang loses concentration, he has to go through the whole thing. It's just tedious.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think I brought that up. Like, what would be the whole point of the Avatar looking for teachers then? He could just use his past lives, and how boring would that be? Like, that's bad writing.
It is. It's... To be fair, that does bring up the fact that there is a flaw with the writing. That he could, within reason, do something like that. However, it does not change the fact that he himself, Aang, would have a much better time, would have a much more, what's the word I'm trying to think?
Efficient?
No. It's much more rewarding for him to find people that bend things differently than what him or his past lives may be accustomed to.
Yeah, he learns from like, none of the past avatars are blind and use seismic sense or anything like that.
Exactly.
Toph can.
I mean, I don't know how many of the firebending avatars learned from the dragons. Mm-hmm. And Zuko, who had access to the best firebending teachers in the entire country. Like...
Iroh.
Right!
So that is a good question. That would set up a perfect... I mean, it would kind of detract from the story, but I don't know if it's cheap. It would be cheap, because...
I don't think it would be cheap. Or is he saying that learning from...
No. He's right. Right. He's saying exactly what we're saying. He's basically saying it'd be a cheap, fucking whatever the fuck to learn from your past lives.
Yeah.
Roku's not just a firebender. He was a previous avatar. He could just easily have just showed Aang everything.
Yeah, definitely go for it. So this one...
Huh? Wait. Did I just have a stroke? What the... Go back, like... Yeah.
Cheap. Because Roku's not just a firebender. I don't know if it's cheap. Set up a perfect... I mean, it would kind of detract from the story, but I don't know if it's cheap. It would be cheap. Because Roku's not just a firebender. He was a previous avatar. He could just easily have just showed Aang everything.
Okay. Sorry, I got that wrong. What he's saying is not that it would be bad for writing. What he's saying is it would be bad because then he would just fucking know everything Roku does, which would make him crazy overpowered. I guess, is where he's going with that. That's the only thing I can think of, is because his whole idea is like, Roku is not just the avatar, he is a firebending avatar. And therefore, right, if Aang were to just learn from him, then he would just know everything.
I think what he was saying is that Roku, if Aang was going to try to learn from Roku firebending, why wouldn't he just try to learn waterbending and earthbending? And I mean, he doesn't need to learn airbending anymore.
It's true, but I mean, again, you could do the same. You could do the same thing with your past lives. You can just keep going until you.
But it's just like, again, it'd be boring.
Well, of course, it would be boring.
Spirits have better things to do. They want to sleep. They already did their world service.
I was gonna say, could you imagine dying and then like somebody's just like, hey, can you teach me how to do all the shit that you did when you were alive? Yeah, hold on, let me go through that fucking emotional roller coaster. Thanks, jackass. Like,
yeah, definitely go for it. So this one's hard to sort of box in, but so Aang's got like a huge issue with killing to the point where he at one point says like he wouldn't even want to harm a spider fly.
Can I just say I have a problem with this too. Aang in the episode The Blue Spirit. Do you remember this when Zuko's dressed up as the Blue Spirit and he rescues Aang from Zhao and they're using like the ladders to like jump over the walls of the prison? Aang like blows people like straight down the fucking wall. There's no way they're not dead. He fucking murdered those people.
Oh my god, he did. And he just fucking killed those guys.
And he said he would never even hurt a spider fly caught in its own web. Do you remember in the desert when one of the vulture bees was grabbing Momo and he was stealing him?
Tried to solve my problems by being quick or clever, and I've only had to use violence for necessary defense, and I've certainly never used it to take a life.
Aang rescues Momo, but then he like takes his staff and he fucking throws a wind at it, and he fucking killed the vulture bee.
Okay, but that is a different story because it is a commentary on how like Appa's kidnapping like severely affected him. I mean, Aang was at such a point of turmoil that he was going through, like, completely, like, getting rid of his morals in such a way. There was even, it was commentary on it, too. There was, remember when he found the Sandbenders, he was he went into the Avatar state, and he basically said, I'm going to fucking kill you guys. I'm going to actually kill you. And Qatar was like, Aang, that's not you. And that's what kind of brought Aang back, and he was like, "Oh."
The fact that in the last episode in Sozin's comment, he's like, "I would never even take a life." Yeah, you did. You killed a vulture bee. You were going to kill other people, and the fact that he has a problem killing the Fire Lord. I mean, I understand the message of the story is, you know, if you have the option. I mean, I believe in this morality too. If you have the option to not kill someone, if you are able to overpower them without killing them, you should do that. But the fact that he's going around saying he would never kill anything when he has, I mean, he's a hypocrite.
He's also 12, but I mean, like, it's actually funny. That hypocrisy follows him, like, after Avatar The Last Airbender, too. As you dissect into The Legend of Korra, you find that those hypocrisies... I'm serious. No. It really does.
I just hate Legend of Korra and the fact that you're bringing it up.
Well, of course, I don't like Legend of Korra either, but it doesn't change the fact that there are some things where I can just like look at it and be like, oh man.
Wait, what is his hypocrisy? Like what did he do that was hypocritical?
Okay, so hypocrisy-wise, I'd have to really go back, and I had like a whole thing about this, but the only thing I can really remember right now is, like, you know, the whole idea was that Aang was a very good person, and Aang really tried to be a good person, but there were some aspects of Aang that, you know, he kind of fucked up, like with some hypocrisies or going back on his words when he was a child, which, if I'm honest with you, kind of sounds like being a child, like such as, you know, causing harm to people and whatnot when you're saying you wouldn't want to do that. Mm-hmm. Another thing he did was be a horribly neglecting father.
Oh, that's true. He only cared about Tenzin because he was the only Airbender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was less so that he didn't care about his kids, but he was just kind of like, Tenzin, you need to know everything about airbending, and I mean everything right now.
I guess I could. I mean, I kind of like that though. That he wasn't the perfect father. Like he wanted his nation back to the fullest, so he made sure to do that. But I do kind of, I mean, at the same time, Aang, though, he's such a nice, cheerful person. I can't imagine him changing all that much as an adult.
I think it's interesting how the nationalism that he fought against became his what was it? His driving factor in his adulthood. I think that's it's a horrifying juxtaposition, but a fabulous one as well. You know,
I don't know. I don't like Legend of Korra, and I can't believe we're watching that to do this stupid review of it. I don't want to do it anymore.
You know what's funny? I almost want to watch it now, just because I don't enjoy it, right? But I do have friends that do enjoy it, and I want to see what the fuck they're talking about.
They're wrong. You already know they're wrong. If they tell you they like Bolin, I would just say, oh, you like a fucking one-dimensional comic relief character who literally has no place in the story at all, rather than cracking jokes.
So far, I like Bolin too. But
I like Bolin in the first season. Trust me, that's all you're gonna like from him.
Oh god, is it like the SpongeBob thing where it just becomes one-liners after one-liners?
Literally, the Air Nation is almost under extinct, and he's making bird calls.
Okay, but that's kind of funny.
That was caught in its own web. I think that's his line.
Yeah.
Yet I take large issue with his very casual response to what could be significant death in different areas of the show. The example I think is most significant would be season 1 with the Air Temple War. That and the Water Monster one at the end of season 1, but I'd rather focus on the
water monster, that wasn't Aang. That was the ocean spirit combining with the Avatar state.
We'll get to that one.
Yeah. I don't know what the other one he's talking about is, so let's listen.
The war one. You have this scenario where they are living in his Air Temple area, but the only reason they've been allowed to stay there is because they're providing weapons to the Fire Nation, right?
Oh, the Northern Air Temple. Okay, I want to see where he's going with this, because he's probably going to mention the huge explosion.
Alright, there's some ethical stuff here. Okay, I'm liking it. This is good. Aang is told, he's highly aware of the scenario being, important, and he knows how important himself being there is to the Fire Nation, because they're searching for him. And so the Fire Nation guy turns up, and he's like, give me my weapons. And then Aang, bursts out, and he's like, fuck you, go away, and blows him away. And then he's like, you'll pay for this. And then, once he's left, they immediately start planning for war. And I was immediately just like, geez, Aang, if you would...
That's right. That did happen.
Yeah. To be fair, though, Aang is really upset about his temple being abused this way.
It's almost a foreshadowing of the nationalism to follow him in his adulthood.
What was I gonna say, though? But, he doesn't want his home or these people to be tormented anymore. So, yeah, in order to get these people to stop, you're gonna have to fight them. Now, he's most likely going to mention the big explosion at the end, which, Sokka did that, though, so,
If I'm honest with you, yeah, Aang probably. I mean, for Aang to just be like, "Good job, Sokka." At the end of
they do mention, oh look, they're retreating rather than they died because it's Nickelodeon, which is a problem I have with the show. That's a subjective thing though, but that's probably why Jeremiah doesn't like it, because no one fucking dies. Well, people do die, but not enough people die.
People die, but nobody really dies. You know what I mean? Anyway, so, look, it's a long-winded way of saying, Nickelodeon, or, everyone in Nickelodeon is a massive pussy. And
especially now, everything sucks now from what I can see. They don't even make shows like this. This show was so fucking good, even with its limitations. It was so fucking good.
I basically don't watch TV anymore.
I don't have TV anymore. I just have Netflix.
That's everybody else, though. Mm-hmm.
But if he's gonna say there's a contradiction with his morality, I don't think there is one. I don't think he has a problem with other people, because he doesn't get mad at other people not being vegetarian. He's not like a vegan forcing his vegetarianism on
true.
people.
I mean, which is a good thing. You know, Aang is kind of the person where he's just like, I'm not... He really is the kind of guy who's like, I'm not going to pull the trigger, but if you shot that guy, like, I mean...
So he's basically an enabler.
Yeah, I mean, look, as a pacifist, right, and also the guy who's supposed to stop a war, I mean... You kind of got to take some liberties somewhere.
To him, probably, his own integrity is more important than others. They can worry about themselves, where he can worry about himself, is probably his ideology.
Which is a strange thing for me to think about, because I've never thought of Aang as an individualist, and, you know...
Well, he does have a problem. I mean, he loves Katara, but he gets on her for trying to get revenge, which is understandable. He's a friend. But he doesn't say anything to Sokka after he drops a bomb onto the Fire Nation.
Yeah, I mean...
Maybe he didn't, maybe he thought it was an accident, because they didn't use a bomb. They used their fuel source to knock into the gas, and it kind of just exploded, so he was just like, oh, that was a coincidence.
Look, man, if you're just like, maybe if I try really hard, I can, like... They may not have made a bomb, but Sokka was just like, well, maybe if we try really hard, we can blow them all to smithereens. Like, that was...
I mean, if he knows Sokka's character, maybe he gets on Katara because he knows Katara as sweet and innocent, and he doesn't want her to be...
Or he's got the rose-tinted glasses on around her and whatnot.
Well, like, he doesn't want to see her poisoned with revenge, whereas with Sokka, he knows Sokka likes to fight. Sokka, like, you know, he thinks... in ways like kill or be killed, whereas everyone else
Sokka is literally the only person in the Southern Water Tribe who knows war tactics. Like,
he's the only person in the group who knows war tactics.
Well, yeah, his dad was just like, defend the village, Sokka, and Sokka was like, I will now read the art of war, back to front to back, until it is memorized.
So. I don't think I'm gonna give MauLer a point here, because I mean, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with it. I mean, it's...
Well, we also haven't gotten to it yet.
I guess not.
Like, I know you don't want the Fire Nation to have weapons. They've already got a shit ton of weapons, by the way, but you're gonna put this community that's like half children in a position where they're about to, like, fight a war.
Let him finish his sentence.
Let
him finish his sentence.
I don't want to.
They throw in like stink bombs or whatever those things are, like this horrifying army that are gonna execute them if they can. But my problem goes further, because do you remember they have that like gas deposit at the bottom of the area, and
the methane gas, something like that?
Yeah, like they smell it through one of the bottom chambers of their area, and they put rotten eggs in it because they know if they smell eggs, they'll know that's where the gas is, I guess. And so they can smell it in like this chasm, and so they throw their I guess like the sort of heater thing that's applied to the balloon into it, and explodes, and it like fills the screen. Like the entire castle is taken up by
I will say it's pretty over exaggerated.
It is. It's like fucking wild. I remember watching that, and I'm just kind of like, well. Okay.
I always expect right afterwards for it to be like a little twig of a rock holding the whole mountain together. Like
it is. Like it's
flames, and then all the Fire Nation are just shown to be defeated, and they're like, yeah. And I was like, you couldn't possibly have done that without killing somebody.
That's right.
But I'm gonna say Aang.
Right.
But Aang didn't kill anyone. It was Sokka who did that. He's talking about Aang. Aang didn't do that. If his criticism is Aang started this whole battle, well, yeah, he wants to get the Fire Nation to fucking leave.
It makes sense for Aang to start the battle because, I mean, he is the Avatar. He sees the people being he's a simple man. He sees the people being oppressed. He helps. You know. And
the stink bomb thing is ridiculous. You probably should have used real bombs. But I mean, Aang is Aang, and he doesn't want to hurt people. The tanks
it worked.
Yeah, the tanks are weak to water too, which yeah, so they were able to throw them off. Although I'm gonna say this though, Aang kind of did try to kill someone. Do you remember when he like throws his staff into one of the tank's hooks and he unhooks it and the tank starts to fall? He didn't know that the tank had another harpoon on it. He would have killed that guy. So if he mentioned that, I would have given him a point, because he literally just tried to kill someone in the tank.
Yeah. Aang seems to have. It's fun. I will say this: it is strange to me that Aang seems to have an issue with the whole "kill or be killed" thing, but like only at the end of the series, only when he wants to.
Yeah,
like
season 1. I'm gonna say it's probably only season 1 where it's inconsistent, and season 1 is probably the weakest season of the 3. Season 2 is incredible, and season 3 is fucking great. But season 1 is good, but it's definitely the weakest of the 3 seasons.
But that doesn't change the. And you know what? Just because it is the weakest of the 3
that doesn't
seasons,
make it bad. No.
Exactly. That doesn't make it okay. Is actually what I meant to say.
Okay.
Like it can be the weakest of the 3 seasons, but it is part of it, and we need to accept that. Yeah, that was kind of a fuck up on the part. I don't think him starting beef with them was an issue because he was going to start beef with them anyway.
Yeah. So how else are you going to get them to leave? You can't just have them sit around and have this guy keep making weapons for them. They'll be even more powerful. He's fucking smart. He built a war balloon with Sokka's help, but they built a war balloon, which at the end, they reverse engineer it so they can make airships. So,
which was, first of all,
fucking awesome.
It was fucking incredible. But yeah, no, I do have a problem with that, and he has a point. Like, look, Nickelodeon can be like, and then no one died, but we as viewers and as adults are,
yeah, to say that no one died is my issue with it. Not that Aang's morality is put in. Well, I mean, it is put into question, but he didn't say that. He didn't bring up the tank, but the explosion was not Aang's choice. It wasn't even their plan. Sokka was using stink bombs.
The explosion may not have been Aang's choice. However, they had regular bombs too.
No, it was fire bombs. They weren't explodey bombs.
Oh, it was fire bombs. They weren't explode. Shut the fuck up.
That's what they said in the show! You don't see any of the bombs exploding like regular explosions.
Why would they use fire bombs on the firebenders? Anyway, on to the next point. I'm gonna give MauLer a point for this, not because of Aang starting shit, but because he's right. Look, Sokka may have been the one to pull the trigger on the bomb, but Aang didn't say anything about it afterwards.
Okay, I don't have my piece of paper with me, but would you want that to be a third point?
I would.
Okay, all right. I mean, I can't really say anything to retort that because he kind of does just go, yeah. We did it.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, we did it, and everyone's okay as like the smell of burnt people is filling the air. Like,
all right, I don't have my paper with me. I'll be right back. Entertain the people while I'm gone.
Well,
eat your food.
Oh yeah, that's right. So it's kind of tradition on this channel where if anybody has a wrapper or something, or just you just. Shawarma! I'm eating a protein bar. Because I really like protein bars. If you've never tried Oat Mega, I highly recommend it. It's got 5 grams of sugar, which is actually a bit more than some of your like higher quality protein bars, but 5 grams is still 5 grams.
All right, that's enough from you.
And it's also got omega 3s. Anyway, Oat Mega, sponsor our channel.
All right, let's. So that's third point is Aang's morality in the episode "The Northern Air Temple," or I guess Aang's morality in general in season 1.
Aang's lack of saying something about Sokka killing at least 100 people.
And he just shows no recognition of it, and it's very concerning. Not to mention, by the way, that if you blew it up and the castle is sitting on that deposit, like that place is in trouble.
It's totally fucked. There's no way it's not.
I think my base problem is that the explosion was so exaggerated. Yeah, it's awesome to look at, but yeah, there's no way that castle would be able to sit on that thing anymore. But it does, so I mean, in Star Wars, when they blow up the Death Star, there's no way that the X-Wings are fast enough to escape a fucking moon explosion in time. It doesn't matter how fast they go.
I mean, can't they go light speed? Isn't that a thing they can do?
Not in A New Hope. No, they can't. That was a thing in Return of the Jedi.
Oh.
fine once the explosion's over. It's just like, it's fine. They got rid of the fight engine. It's cool. And yeah, so I guess my issue there is I think it's out of character for him to not only like so brazenly start a war, but to also not show any.
No, he didn't. It's not a war. It's a skirmish.
Yeah, no.
To save the air temple. That I don't have a problem with that. You want him to sit idly by. He has a problem with pacifists who do nothing. Yeah, he has a problem with this. Like, he's willing to fight for these people, for this temple. Sure, they're outnumbered, but they have air power. They don't.
Just now that you've said that just makes me upset, because it's just kind of like, you gotta fucking pick one. You can't complain when it's hot and when it's cold. You have to pick one that you give less of a shit to complain about. And then there's also, yeah, I wouldn't call it... The war is a bit of an exaggeration. The Fire Nation sieging all 3 other nations around them. That's a war. Aang deciding, no, we're not gonna give you your weapons anymore. Get out of here. That's more of like, an invitation for battle than a war. Mm-hmm.
Any remorse after killing many.
Not only that, this probably stops the production of their extremely powerful weapons, too, because... I fucking forget his name, but the guy that, him and Sokka are friends with, I think Sokka just calls him the Mechanist. Does he even have a name?
He does.
I can't remember it. Can you remember it? Mm-mm. Well, the Mechanist, he's not going to be making weapons for them anymore, so now the Fire Nation's going to be weaker. Sure, they reverse engineered the war balloon, but that's all, think about if...
You're a fucking war balloon.
Think about if the Mechanist still worked for them. They would be getting even more powerful weapons. So, this was a good move on Aang's part. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a good move on his part. Let me see. Here we go. I'm currently Googling to see what his name was. The only thing was that I typed in was Avatar, the Northern Air Temple Dad.
And what's his name?
His name is... His name is... Where the fuck is his name?
Maybe he doesn't have one. I feel like I would know it.
I'm just gonna click...
No, it's just the name of his voice. He doesn't have a name. He really is just the Mechanist. Look, it just says Mechanist voice.
Oh.
So I was right. He's just the Mechanist.
But his son has a name.
Yeah, his son is,
Teo.
Teo, yeah.
So Teo's dad.
Yeah. Anyway, glad that we got that out of the way.
Wow. Damn.
Many people. I know it's a kid's show, so they're never going to show us, all these corpses that are burned and all these men screaming and stuff. I know that.
Would have been great, though.
I guess what I would want is I don't like that episode at all. I would probably remove it.
You don't like that episode at all? That episode's so great!
I like the episode.
That episode, he walks in and he's looking at all of it, this is supposed to be the history of my people. There's a bunch of fucking, tubes and pipes going in, and then, the fountain is filled with poison, or whatever that is.
It was just sludge.
Yeah, and it's just, it was so great, and,
Yeah.
And he learns to love these people. It's this may not have been your home, but you found it and you made it yours.
The episode has flaws, undoubtedly, but...
Yeah, the giant explosion.
Yeah, the giant explosion, but I mean...
And also the war balloon! How... You can't remove that episode. The war balloon leading to the airships, which ultimately causes the biggest threat in the whole show.
That is actually exactly what I was going to say, is you can't remove it because it has a crew... I mean, you could argue that, yeah, it's just somewhere. It's just guys, the Fire Nation's just guys, don't worry. The Avatar may be a fucking bitch, but look at what we made. You could do that, right? So I guess we could say that, but even still, it's
no, the foreshadow is what makes it so great.
I think this is far more interesting. I kind of like the idea that, number one, the air temples are being used for, more than just being... I mean, there's no one there. I mean, it's kind of It's like a hermit crab. I mean, like
That's what they say in the episode. Yeah.
exactly.
Um.
Kind of why I said that, but
And
I mean,
yeah. What was I gonna say?
something stupid.
What they need to change about the episode. My only problem with it is the big explosion and Aang not giving a fuck about the big explosion. Everything else is perfectly fine. Like, it's great. Like, even in the beginning, like, there's like old people telling stories, and it's like, man, it must have been 100 years since your great grandfather saw the Airbenders. What are you talking about? Great grandpappy saw the Airwalkers last week. What? It's like, what?
That's my favorite one.
Do you really think we'll find Airbenders? Do you want me to be like you or totally honest? Are you saying I'm a liar? I'm saying you're an optimist. Same thing, basically.
It's too. I want to focus on the whole. They pilfered his people's temple to make their own place. That was enough for me. Just going over that,
Yeah.
having him deal with it, because they don't really deal with that. He has the war, and then at the end of the episode, he's.
He doesn't really deal with that. I mean, the whole episode, he's starting to understand this group of people. Like, he's making friends with Teo, and they're earning trust, and he's learning that these people have Airbender spirit, even if they're not Airbenders, because they love gliding around and, having fun and being free. So you're wrong about that.
Well, I don't think they're free necessarily. I mean, you have to pay for the TV subscription in order to watch the show.
Well, obviously, the dad isn't free, the mechanist, because he has to build these weapons in order to live there. But afterwards, they're free because Aang frees them, and they probably gain strength on their own, especially since the mechanist is probably making weapons for their own use now. If they ever get invaded again, they could just beat them down easily without Aang telling them not to kill people and then laughing at, like, being totally fine when they do kill people.
If you ask me, I think that's a metaphor for life.
It's like the hermit crab that takes its shell from something else. You guys have made something new out of the place you're in. Woohoo! Credits. I was like, wow.
Well, the thing about that, I mean, you can have that. You can say that. I mean, that might be a mischaracterization of Aang, a severe mischaracterization of Aang, but there's also evidence that it might actually be in character if you kind of stretch it, I guess. I don't know, but here's the thing: Aang.
I mean, it can't be in character.
Hold on,
if you
I want to
stretch
finish
it.
his point first.
Okay.
Aang is still a kid. He's like 12 years old, and there are evidence, or there are examples in the show where he does things that and he can't really comprehend the full weight of those things. Like, let me see.
Just now that he said that, that's all I really kind of wanted to hear. I don't see how it's out of character for Aang, the Avatar, to be accepting of a group of people utilizing something for positive means. Legitimately, the people are only using it just to have a home. So, to say that it would be in character for Aang to be like, you know what? I don't think anyone has the right to a home, actually. Get the fuck out of here or I'll blow you off of the temple myself. Like, that's supposed to be in character for Aang, the Avatar, the great peacemaker, the bridge between, what...
Yeah, what does he want? I mean,
You want Aang to fucking kill him? Like, I don't understand.
either that or he wants it to develop in a different way, and it's like, I mean, it developed just fine. You don't need any... He has a problem with how Aang started a fight. The fight is like, that's the development right there. He chooses to defend this place and these people from the Fire Nation.
It wasn't for selfish reasons. It was... It wasn't for selfish reasons. It was wholly for the benefit of these people. Aang as the Avatar is just doing his job, and yet somehow that's out of character. I can understand things being a stretch in certain situations, right? But first of all, to try and chalk it up to just like, well, Aang is a kid, there are some things he just can't comprehend. Are you trying to tell me, right, nobody is living in a place. Someone is now living there and they've made it their home. And you're going to be like, you know what? A long time ago, I used to live here. Well, I used to come here. I didn't live here. And I may not come here now or live here now, but I did know the people that used to live here before they were dead. And I don't think you should live here anymore. And so you just cock the gun and you're just like, get out. Like, that's your just like, yes, finally, somebody with, an adult understanding of the world and how things work. What kind of sick son of a bitch are you? Like, really? Like that's your go-to.
I don't know if that's what he's arguing though. I think he thinks that it was underdeveloped, him going from not liking them to liking them, but I think it was just fine. My only problem is the big explosion. That's literally my only problem.
Yeah, you're trying to tell me it's underdeveloped for someone to be like, how dare you live in this house that, like, you know, I knew someone who died who used to be here. I mean, like, look at all this stuff. This is all their stuff, and you're ruining it. And they're just kind of like, well, we got slaughtered and decided that this was the safest place to live.
You want him to be an asshole still?
and so we're going to live here because it's safer and we feel safe here. And you're going to look at them and you're going to be like, huh, I understand. Also, go fuck yourselves and get slaughtered again. Like, this is... No one's coming here, and that's kind of how I want things to be. I want to leave it abandoned. Like...
Mm-hmm. The whole point is that Aang learns to let go. Sure, like... but
Aang learns to let go.
they're to let go of this place because these people need to live there. It's like what you just said. He's not going to kick them out of their new home. I mean, it's not being used for anything else right now. I mean, Jesus Christ.
You know?
Also,
there are kids that live here. You just want to kick the kid. Oh, wow. Funny how when you turn the same fucking point around, you know, anyway. What a fucking stupid point.
Maybe that's not out of character for him, though. Maybe he does want the children to be abandoned.
I know, well, the other characters
I
do
hate
that
kids
too.
just as much as the next guy, right?
I hate kids.
I mean, with the Katara stealing that scroll, he's like, okay, well...
That's not out of character for Katara.
No. He's saying it's out of character for Aang to be like, yeah, cool, good that you stole that scroll. Except for the fact that Aang was very much so just like, you fucking stole that scroll?
No, that was Sokka.
That was Sokka, you're right. I forget that Sokka's the voice of reason.
Aang is like, well, what's done is done. We have it. We might as well learn from it. Which I think that's in character for him, especially as a kid.
Let's be real here. Aang said all that because he thought he was going to get some pussy, and that's exactly why he said that. That is 100% why he said. Aang was literally just like, he was like, Katara stole something, and he was literally just kind of sitting there, and then he goes, I mean, what's done is done. Like, it's...
I mean, no, I don't think it's out of character for him to do that. Like,
if Sokka stole something, he would have given a shit, and that's the truth.
I don't know about that. She stole it from pirates, and she used this way because they stole it, and also
that's true.
They're gonna use it to learn waterbending, which probably in Aang's eyes is more important than some pirates' way of living right now.
I mean,
he probably has some problem with it, which is probably why he says, well, what's done is done. So he doesn't completely agree with what she did, but it's already done, so you might as well learn from it.
It's fair. It's fair, which I think is in character.
Yeah.
I mean, still, again, it's just...
Maybe he would have a problem if she killed them to get it. If he said, well, what's done is done. Like, that's where I would have a problem with
right,
it.
but she just kind of nicked it from some pirates. I mean... and even Katara said in that episode, she's just like, yeah, they're pirates. Yeah, okay, yeah, never mind. Fuck me.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that episode, other than I don't know if you remember this, but when she gets tied up from Zuko, he's like, tell me where the Avatar is, and she says, you can clearly tell they wanted her to say go to hell or, you know, go fuck yourself, but she says go jump in the river, and then and then Zuko like looks like he's actually hurt, like he looks down and there's like a pause and he's like, please, I need to find her.
Please.
It's just like, you could have handled that.
That's so right.
You could have handled that much better.
I'll be real. Even if she was just like, go fuck yourself, Zuko, and you just looked down like he was hurt, I would have been like, God damn it. Like, what the...
No, like
God, soft Zuko from season 1.
Go jump in a river is just the stupidest way of having that. If you have to censor it to that point, then don't have her say something like that.
I almost want to, like, I want to just fucking might edit that with, like, some voiceover stuff. I just fucking, like, go jump in a river, and he looks down, I'm gonna pause it and just be like, but then I get wet. That's so mean. Why would she say that to me? Like, just...
You know, you stole it. Might as well use it. They have that attitude. So, and there's also, I think Aang fights people, and sometimes he doesn't really realize how damaging he could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Blue Spirit, he clearly kills those guys.
Oh yeah, he clearly kills those guys.
I can't really think of a specific example.
But it does play in part to the beginning of season 2, where he's just kind of like, no thanks, I kill people too often. Like, you know, not even like, because he's just like, you should tap to the Avatar state. And he's just like, I kind of kill people without decisions in that one.
Well, he never really kills anyone.
Never really kills anyone.
But he wasn't in the Avatar state when he's murdering people in the blue spirit.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he'd rather have the choice of whether or not to kill someone, as opposed to just kind of being like, and today we'll kill everyone. Like,
but you have to remember, they didn't watch that episode. I don't know if you remember from part 1.
That's right.
They simply did not watch that
that's
episode.
right. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, it's been a while since I've seen this show, but I think there are times where, because Aang is flawed. He's a flawed character. He makes mistakes, but only sometimes when he's actually faced with the consequences does he realize how bad he has it. I mean, there's a minor example.
Okay. I agree, but also 12-year-old boy kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Flawed and like only sometimes works, so like deals with the consequences of his actions.
I think really the only inconsistencies are in season 1 when it comes to his morality. The guys in the blue spirit and Bato, the water tribe, where he rips up the map to Sokka and Katara's father because they're ignoring him.
Yeah, the more I dissect season 1, the more I'm just kind of like, this is kind of ass. But like, you know,
I wouldn't say it's ass.
I mean, it's good. I like it still. I love season 1.
Yeah,
but
season 1 has a lot of great stuff in it, but it's the season with the most.
You want to talk about an episode where I skipped though? Bato of the Water Tribe.
I don't skip that one because I love the Shearshu and I love some stuff in there, but like. Yeah, the whole thing with Aang being a fucking, you know, he's being really petty. Like, the whole episode, like, Katara and Sokka meet up with Bato, and they're telling all their stories, but Aang is kind of, like, in the background, and no one's talking to him, and whenever he tries to talk, he gets interrupted. And it's just, like, I understand Aang feeling hurt, but to the point where he would rip up the map to their father.
If I'm honest with you, it's just... It's not just that episode, it's episodes. It's any show like that where someone just does something that's just so objectively wrong. Like, when you do something that's just so objectively wrong, or you say something that's just so wrong, it takes me out of it. Because I'm just like, oh, so we're just gonna forget that we have brains today, I guess. We're just gonna be fucking idiots. Like, that's, yeah. So I hate that episode because...
That episode is relatable, though, because I feel like I've been in situations like that where, like, I feel like I've been left out of something, so I do something bad. But, like,
I mean, that's...
For Aang to do that, though, that's out of character.
It's the kid thing to do, but not the monk kid thing to do. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that gets me.
Yeah, we've discussed that in part 1, I think. What time is it?
Time for you to get a watch. And for me to get a new joke. It is 12:47.
So, are you done, or do you want to go further?
I unfortunately have things to do today.
Okay.
Other things besides this. But I always enjoy this.
So, in this whole part, he had 1 point.
hey, that's... hey, man, he's freaking... He got worse, actually.
Yeah, because he
This is part 2. I forget. Well, he's still consistently getting something right each episode.
So far, I cannot wait until I think this list. I'm gonna make a prediction. The max he gets is like 7.
Really, I'm gonna go with 10.
10?
I'm gonna go with 10.
See, I can't even give him that much. Like, in the first 2 hours, I thought he only had 2 points. Right now, we learn he has 3. But I think throughout this whole entire thing, there's only going to be 1 more.
Well, you also have to take into account that, like,
there's another...
You didn't give him that point. I gave him that point. So...
But I can't defend it, so technically I did, like, succumb to it. There's also, after the first hour and 40 minutes, there's still, like, 3 more hours.
Yeah, I was going to say, so right now, we are currently at minute 46:27, as you can see down there. We have a lot, we haven't even gotten, like, through the first hour. And we're on part 2. But it's okay, because this gives me hope. Because I thought we were going to be doing this for a long time. I think we'll be able to finish it by the end of the semester.
Maybe by the end of the year, or not this year, but like next year. We're gonna be doing this for a long time, especially if he keeps getting things wrong.
Well, I mean, we got a bit further, right?
Yeah, but that's because most of it
was reiterations.
Was stuff that either we, like, they were actually talking good things, so we didn't have anything bad to say. Mm-hmm. And some of it was stuff we already talked about.
I'm glad that it seems like, what did you say this guy's name was right there?
Literature Devil.
It seems like he's getting a bit better with time. Like, it's...
I mean, this is still the same video, but yeah.
You know, it's...
I can believe a little bit more now that he's watched the show.
Yeah, there was that one point that I obviously had a fucking issue with, but I mean, you know, it's kind of because, you know, I guess giving a shit about people is out of character for Aang, but I mean, you know. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
but yeah, I think we're gonna end part 2 here.
Yeah, thank you all for
sorry for that like break in the middle where it's probably gonna be strange, like hearing us be like really quiet and tired to energetic.
I'm not sorry. Go fuck yourself.
I'm
kidding. Oh yeah, sure. Cough over. I'm sorry. I love you guys. That's fine. Don't worry about it. I didn't care. Anyway,
I think that's it. Rate, comment, subscribe if you want more videos like this. Even though we're gonna upload more videos like this anyway. Yeah,
support us on Patreon and buy our merch and
everything that I definitely have.
Definitely have. Mm-hmm. Definitely have. Do you guys want that? We'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, bye.
Oh wait. Read Ryan's book. Read Ryan's book on tapas.com.
I don't know how to pronounce it. It's either I like to say tap ass because it sounds like tapping ass, but like TAPAS. There's 5 chapters on there so far, and the first 2 need to be extremely reiterated. But trust me, 3 and onwards I think is really good. But anyway, yeah, bye.